Mono what? Enchantment Aggro versus Dauntless Drafter Carillion. Turn 1 Scavenger, pretty good. Beginning of combat on your turn, you pay 1. Okay, nice. Yep. So what I'm gonna do is the following. Yeah, so the idea was to grow this to 4, exactly using that method so that they cannot use the Enduring Vitality to interact here. And next turn, we're giving something double strike, so a lot of damage already lined up here. I can't get rid of the Vitality, so they can use it to chump block. Double strike. I'm gonna give it to this. So I'm forcing them to chump block. So that now has double strike. I can attack. I'm gonna do this. I should have probably done this even earlier. I would have been able to distribute even more counters, but it's fine. I'm gonna pay 1. I'm gonna put it on this. Unfortunately, I think I missed lethal there. Because if I played this earlier, I think I would have gotten an additional counter somewhere. So that was a mistake from my part. I think that one final point of damage, I should have been able to deal it. But let's see if it comes around to haunt me or not. I hope not. I'm looking at a stock up here. I don't think that the opponent has an answer here. And that will be game 1 in the books as a victory for Mono White Enchantment Aggro. Alright, on to the next one. Mono White Enchantment Aggro versus Initiate Landman. This is missing a little bit of enchantments, but let's see what we can draw into. I could have seam ripped that, but I don't really want to lose that one trigger from the Scavenger here. And okay, let's hope they don't play a 1-mana spell. But they do, and it's of course it's the best one in the whole. Oh. Okay, so I don't think this... The only way I can counteract this is by just going on the offensive here, I think. And trying to race, but this is not looking good, I tell you. If they have an Ouroboros here, or anything of that sorts... But And even like this, even these little creatures are just gonna be enough. Yeah, this is way more damage than I'm dealing. A sheltered... I mean, I have to cast it, right? And they'll put 2 counters on their stuff. So this is still very awkward, but yeah, has to be done this way. But yeah, okay. This gives us maybe a little, slight little teeny bit of hope. I'm fully all in on this Optimistic Scavenger. And now in hindsight, yeah, probably I should have seam ripped the turn 1 Yan of our Elves. Okay, that's a Flying Bramble Familiar. They're gonna attack with at least the 4/3. I'll attack with this guy as well. It can trade with something, maybe. You know, at least that's something. Are they gonna do something here at instant speed? Ah, I see. I see. They can block... Oh, block and return. That's interesting. However, next turn my Seam Rip could potentially win the game here for me. Okay, okay, I think I might be able to win here. I think I might be able to win. Yes! Wow, I hadn't have high hopes for that game. To be fully honest here and fully frank with you. But yeah, always stick it through. Try what is to see if finding an opening. And what really won the game here is flying. So Feather of Light. Well, and the Sheltered by Ghosts. So that combination was able to give us the flying and the lifelink that was needed here to, yeah, outrun the opponent and out life gain the opponent at the same time. Nice. On to the next game. Mono White Enchantment Aggro versus Citadel of Fun. Yeah. Yep. Not a super fast start, which doesn't... You need the Scavenger or the Veteran Survivor to have that kind of start, but this should work. Mute that real quick. Don't get interrupted when playing Magic the Gathering, do I? Let's go for the Aerialist. Okay, now is their turn. This is their turn. Yeah, and I see it already. Cub, and now they're gonna have extra mana, and they can play another Cub. Interesting. Well, I shall eat the Cub. because that's their ramp. Oh, they're gonna protect it. Ah! Damn. Yep. Ooh. Ah, interesting. Running detect intrusion. Huh. Okay. Well, that's better than getting it countered, because at least my Wonderweave Aerialist still flies. I can also give my helpful Weaver flying soon. Okay, now they have a flyer too. So the question is, how are we gonna get through this? This will only give it +1/+0, which is not good enough to get through the cub. So this puts me in a pretty awkward spot. I really need something else, basically. Yeah, this is not gonna cut it at all. I'm gonna have to do it like this. Very awkward, and this gives them a very much needed turn. Yeah, to find exactly that, and that's gonna end the game here on the spot, so pretty much, yeah, that's GG. No matter what I block here, it's gonna be lethal, so yep, that's again what these badgers do. They just produce so much mana, it's insane. But, yeah, okay, it is what it is, and it is a loss. On to the next game. Mono White Enchantment Aggro versus Eternal Taskmaster O'Neill. This is pretty good. Turn 1 Optimistic Scavenger is probably by far the best thing this deck can do. Maybe I should have gone for the vendor here, but okay. Okay, there. Let's attack first. They're gonna counter this. So I kind of was able to choose what I want them to counter here. They're at 3 mana. I don't have protection, unfortunately. What I do have is... Let's do this. Yep, found a land. That's pretty good. I can do this. Into this. Now, I know I'm pretty much all-inning here. Almost. I don't have any more creatures in my backup hand, so... If they're able to sweep... Okay, they aren't. That's good news. I want to see what they do first. That's why I'm playing the Spellbook Vendor before combat this time around. Yep, I'll take that. Attack for 6. Pass the turn. And threaten lethal. I don't have burn, so I'm gonna have to push through the last points of damage somehow. Yeah. This is it. This is the moment. Can they kill this? I mean, with 4 cards in hand, chances are pretty high. But I mean, Ward 2, maybe that makes a difference. Oh my goodness, that's game, right? Wow, I think this was very close, despite the 20-2 life total. That was my last creature. If they were able to get rid of that somehow, they would have won. Like, all they needed was another get lost, and they would have defeated me. But yeah, they didn't have it, and able to push through the last few points of damage here just in time. On to the next game. Mono White Enchantment Aggro versus the Bargler Bonsai 13. Okay, I only have the Spellbook Vendor. So this is a risky keep. And now the question is, do I play it on 2 or do I play it on 3? Because I need to protect that thing. Oh my god. Oh, okay. Okay, well that changes things a little bit. For the better. Okay, I'll exile one of these feathers. Now, okay. Yeah, I think this is good. Yeah, I think that was worth it, despite that only being a bounce effect. It allowed me to draw from the feather, otherwise I wouldn't have drawn. Now they can still bounce it or kill it now, but I gained life. No, I didn't. I didn't gain life, but oh my goodness. Now what I need now is an untapped land. No, not even that. I don't have a creature to enchant with. So that was very awkward. I'm gonna have to decline here. So this is gonna be... Okay, at least they cannot attack with the Inquisitor, because I'll just block with the Vendor. So that's at least something going for me here. Oh, interesting. That's kind of interesting, to be honest. Should I give it the Feather of Flight again? Do the... Ah! Okay, let's do it. Okay. Okay. Whew. Hope they can't target this. And another sheltered onto this, I think it's going to be game. I'm going to go for that. this is full all in. Okay, pay the ward. Okay, all in on the survivor here. Full on, yeah, full on, all in. Wow. Okay. Because now they have to, yeah. And I didn't even attack. I didn't even attack. But 4 ward and them at 3 mana, like by the time they're going to be able to get rid of this is probably going to be too late. Because next turn I'm going to start hitting. Next turn I'm going to exile another card. And it's going to be get 3/3/3 and have hexproof anyway. So wow, that was a back and forth game. I think the opponent made, I don't think that was the right play, attacking with the Lightstall Inquisitor that was enchanted with the Sheltered by Ghosts, because losing that was such 2-for-1. I don't think that was the right choice in that moment. But yeah, I also was very afraid. I used up a lot of my Shardmage rescues to protect my survivor, to make him a veteran. But okay, nice. 4-1 it was, I think. Let me check. Yep, 4-1, mono white enchantment aggro. Let's have a look at the recap. Alrighty, mono whitey enchantment aggro. This deck has come up recently, I would say. Maybe just before Avatar dropped, I would say, is when it kind of started popping up here and there. It doesn't run any of the Avatar cards. It does run, the newest card I would say is probably the Wonderweave Aerialist and the most helpful Weaver from the Omen Paths set. But yeah, it doesn't matter basically where and when the cards are from. They are in standard legal, so this is what matters. The deck has it's an aggro deck, but what I do like about this deck is that it has, compared to a lot of the other aggro decks, this one has interaction. Currently, mono green ramp is all over the place, but taking out a couple of key cards in that deck can slow them down so much that they ramp into nothing, or they don't ramp enough, and then also don't generate enough aggro. And look at the curve here. There's no card in here that's more than 2 mana, so you can really go down on the lands. And the interaction that this deck has, and Sheltered by Ghosts, Seamrip, and the Shardmage Rescue, they all synergize awesomely with your other cards. So let's have a look. What have we got? Well, 20 planes, very simple. No space for anything tapped, anything non-white. You just want to have your white mana up all the time. Then we have your amazing 1-drops. We have probably the engine of the deck, the Optimistic Scavenger. Every enchantment you play will grow this. But you also have an amazing Veteran Survivor, a 1-mana 2/1, which has graveyard interaction. So you're even able to deal or interact with the opponent's graveyard in case they are running some kind of reanimation strategy. You have answers to that as well. Also, if you attack a couple of times, the Veteran Survivor will exile cards, and once there's 3 or more cards exiled, it'll get 3/3/3 and hexproof. Then we have a 2-drop, the 2-mana 2/2 with Ward 2. And the Ward is something that this deck tries to take a lot of advantage of. Putting a Sheltered by Ghosts onto this will make the Ward cost 4, which is almost hexproof. And this thing has flying once it's modified, so as long as there's a counter on it, or an aura is attached to it, this thing will have flying, so that's also a big part of the strategy here. We have the Feather of Flight as well to give any of your creatures flying. Sheltered will give lifelink, so you're able to give your creatures a lot of stats while doing stuff at the same time. So you're progressing your board, attacking, but also interacting with the opponent a little bit. So these are your main creatures. These are the guys that really deal the damage. We do have, and I'm jumping a little bit here today, but pardon me for that. Let me put this guy here and this as well. So we have the Spellbook Vendor and the Helpful Weaver, and these two have a dual role. They both create a creature that can attack, but both of them also can create enchantments. So the Helpful Weaver is an enchantment saga in on itself. So this will trigger the Optimistic Scavenger, and it will also grow the Ethereal Armor. Same for the Spellbook Vendor. When you attack, you can pay 1 and create sorcerer rolls onto your creatures, which will trigger the Scavenger, which will grow them by +1/+1, and then they also scry as well. So these are also additional triggers for enchantments. Then we have payoff cards. These are a little bit fragile because if they kill the creature in response to your enchanting, that's a big loss, but it is absolutely required because this can give you some insane burst out of nowhere where, you know, you have going into your turn, you already have a creature on the board, it doesn't have summoning sickness, you manage to enchant it with this, and it'll grow pretty nicely depending on how many enchantments or auras you've already added to the board in earlier turns. So really able to, attack for a big chunk out of almost nowhere. For Shardmage Rescue, this is just the perfect protection spell for the deck. Hexproof, +1/+1, and it is an enchantment that sticks. It triggers the Scavenger and it pumps the armor. Absolute synergy here. We have the Feather of Flight, which I'm going to just drop here in the middle. This is nice because it's a cantrip, so it'll just give a little bit of burst power, +1/+0. Not a lot, but what you need is the flying and also just it being an enchantment. Plus you draw a card. So this is just, a good cantrip to grow the armor, to grow the Scavenger, and give your creatures evasion if they don't have it already. Then we have the interaction spells. We have Force Seam Rips because there's a lot of aggro going on at the moment. So you want to be able to interact in the early game while pumping your own creatures. And the Sheltered by Ghost just fits perfectly into this deck, preferably enchanting the Aerialist or having an additional Shardmage Rescue up, because you really don't want to lose the creature that you enchant Sheltered by Ghosts on. So the deck is very potent, very synergetic, and I think it's a good option at the moment with all the aggro decks that are more linear and less interactive, especially the green ramping decks. I think this is a good choice to kind of try and punish those kind of decks, but also able to go toe-to-toe with the reanimation decks thanks to the Survivor, but also going against control decks with the Shardmage Rescue. But you do need to be careful of sweepers because those can really punish you. And there you go. That's it for today's run. Mono White Enchantment Aggro 4/1. Let's look at some flavor text. How about... we'll take this one. Ethereal Armor. Metal is scarce, smiths are pricey, and plate mail is heavy. And on that note, thanks for watching, have fun, see you in the arena, and peace.